Good morning, good evening, or good night to everyone watching. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea Vasquez, and if you enjoy scary or mysteries, you are at the correct place. For today's video, I will be reading Reddit scary stories. A lot of them I was going more for like a realistic vibe. So I was going for like more subtle stories that were like, oh, this happened, and I was like, oh dang it. But like, yeah, I'm not going for like, oh my goodness, I felt like something tried to kill me, you know? Like, I'm trying to go for a little bit more subtle, and then eventually I want to do like scarier stories, like work my way up, you know? But yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, this first story is brought to us by his wife 10. My childhood home has always had this creepy vibe to it. We lived in a small town, and my mom had lived in the same neighborhood her whole life. Her grandparents lived several houses down. I share that information because my family was very aware of the history of the house and were absolutely certain that no one had ever died in the house. When my parents bought it, it had been empty for a couple of years. The previous owners had lost it or were in the process of losing it, so my parents basically purchased it from the bank. I was 5 years old when we moved in there. My parents later told me that the night we moved in, they started hearing things in the house. Dining room chairs moved in the kitchen, things fell off the counter, and even footsteps from the side of the door into the kitchen. I had some terrifying experiences in the house as well. However, there was always some home with me. One time, my parents left me home alone with my brother, who was several years younger than me. We were watching TV in the living room, and when the atmosphere shifted, and there was definitely a menacing presence or feeling. The volume on the TV turned up on its own, and the channel started rapidly changing. The remote was nearby, but there was nothing pressing on the buttons. We ran outside and waited for my parents to come home. The time I was alone in the house, I was an adult by this time, and my parents were in the process of getting it ready to rent out. They had bought another house nearby. I was over there because it was a quiet place to study. I suddenly became incredibly sleepy and went into the living room to lie down on the couch. After what felt like a minute, I heard this scream in my ear. It sounded like many voices, not just one. It was terrifying. I actually kept my eyes closed and felt completely paralyzed. When I could finally move again, I jumped up and ran straight to the door. I only grabbed my bag and keys. I left my book there. I never wanted to be alone in that house again. My parents still own it, but we've never heard anything else from any of the renters. Scary. Like, imagine. And that sounds a little bit, well, I haven't really looked into it, but that sounds a little bit like sleep paralysis, you know? Like, not being able to move. I think with sleep paralysis, you can open your eyes, but like, I think this Redditor chose not to open their eyes. But yeah, that's scary. But let's see. Ooh, let's read one of the comments. I had a very similar experience to those. I don't believe in supernatural stuff. I changed the word. But I can't deny what I've personally witnessed. Dang, that's scary. It's scary to me, like, when, like, non-believers start believing. So, like, this is a story for another time, but my dad, he's, like, a heavy non-believer on anything, like, ghost stuff, or, like, possession stuff. That's a story for another time, though. But now he is, because, long story short, he saw somebody possessed, and yeah, on to the next story. Okay, on to the next story. The next story is provided to us by Lady Walks on Reddit, and Lady Walks says, or writes, much to the same as everyone else, I have a pretty demanding job, so on Friday night, it doesn't take much for me to fall asleep. On such Friday night, I was home alone enjoying a lovely beer after a long day of work, and according to schedule, I fell asleep on my chair. I'm not sure how long I had been asleep for, but I awoke to the sound of the door handle of my side door jiggling, like someone who was trying to desperately get it. Terrified, I sat straight up in my chair, looked at the side of the door. I live in a pretty small place, and I stared for about 5 minutes until the jiggling stopped. Then the jiggling began at the front door. My family members used to make fun of me for being obsessed about locking doors, but after this happened, they never teased me again. I evaded home invasion that night by being uptight about locking doors. That's so scary because I like being home alone, you know, but at the same time I get very paranoid very easily. Like, I'll hear a noise, and then especially since this is probably not a good thing to put on the internet, but like our back door is like, it opens on its own sometimes. So then sometimes I'll just be chilling in the kitchen and look into the laundry room, and then the back door is like swung wide open. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to like, even though I've been in the kitchen the entire time, I'm like, I have to survey the entire house and make sure that nobody's in here. And like, I don't even carry around a weapon. I'm just like, hello? Anybody under the bed? Yeah, it's scary. But yeah. Like, imagine if they wouldn't have locked the door, though. They would have gotten in. Like, my heart is racing just, like, that's so scary to me. Like, because, honestly, it's scary, you know, like, the paranormal. That's very scary. But at the same time, what's, like, the worst they can do? They can haunt you and, like, you know, all that. But, like, a person, they can, like, actually kill you, and it's like, it's scary, especially in this day and age. People seem to be a little bit off the rockers, who have a few loose screws. So yeah, I don't trust people. I trust ghosts more than people. That's just, honestly, at this point. Okay, so this next story, the third one, is brought to us by Purple Nurple 4421. I wasn't home alone, but I was with my sister. We heard scratching from my mom's room, and we were together. My dad was sleeping, darker than hell outside, and I was just scared for my life because I thought of all the bad horror movies. When I looked into the room like the white boy I am, I seen what looked like my mom crawling on the floor, really long hair, looking wet. I swear up and down that it wasn't a dream. She walked through the front door like nothing happened because she was outside the whole time. My mom's room is straight down the hall and my room to the left, and I did not see her leave. That's scary. That's so scary. Like, actually seeing something on the floor, bruh. That's so scary. I would probably cry. I don't know what I would do in that. I'd probably cry. But, like, other than that, I think it would end up taking my soul because I would just stand there frozen. I'm, like, probably a really good target for any like, ghost trying to steal souls because I'd just freeze. And then, like, I'd try to pull a cross country and run the hell out, but, like, it'd be too late, you know? Because, you know, that's scary. And then, like, having to, like, sleep right next to the room. And then having, like, imagine you see that and then you're like, oh, there's something wrong with my mom. But then your mom walks in, like, from a door from outside, and it's, like, turning out that she was never in that room. Like, what was that? And why did it look like your mom, you know? That's so scary. Oh, man. Thank God. This is a very religious household, so thank God, like, I feel like we're very, very protected. So, like, we don't experience any of that. Thank God. Because, I don't know, I feel like I would have gone crazy if I would have experienced any of that. Just any of it, I'd be like super paranoid. But yeah, anyways, the fourth and last story is brought to us by Pitful Fact 4400. I don't know if this counts, but I was at home alone with my baby brother, who was 1 at the time. I was sitting on my bed with my baby brother while watching The Amazing World of Gumball. Everything was going well. Then suddenly I hear a noise from the kitchen. I'm someone who gets scared easily, so I jump at the noise. I don't investigate, however. I was too scared to do so. I know my mom and other siblings hadn't come back because I would have heard them. I managed to calm myself, and I got to go on my phone to call my best friend. We just talked about school and stuff. Then suddenly I heard some footsteps. The floor on the house was creaky. At this point, my brother is asleep. I tell my friend that I heard a noise and she gets scared for me. Soon after, I hear banging on my door and someone shrieking. My friend hears it too, and she calls the police for me, and I was too scared to get off the phone with her. The police arrived soon after, and they found some weird old man hiding in the upstairs closet. LOL. I like how they top it off. They end it all with LOL. That is, wow. That's crazy. Like, imagine having somebody like that you didn't know in your house, like hiding out in there. That's so scary because you're like just enjoying life and then there's somebody there. And then like imagine if they had gotten into like the person's room, right? I think they were like in their room. Sitting on my bed. So this person was in their room with like, I guess their door closed when like that old man was like trying to get in or something. That's so scary. That's like terrifying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying previously. Like, it's not ghosts or ghouls you should fear. It's human living people that you should fear, because they could like actually kill you. They could like slowly kill you. They can torture you. And then it's like there's so much evil in this world that's why like I like ghost stories and all of that, because it's like that's why I don't get scared of them, you know, because I don't really fear them. It's mainly people that I fear. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you for listening to the stories. And if you like them, I'm going to try to post scary stories or like just any type of stories. Or no, actually, like mainly scary stories or like paranormal stories or like alien stuff, because I love aliens. I'm like a huge alien enthusiastic. I'm going to try to post about them every Thursday. So yeah, see you next Thursday. Ciao!